If you're looking to hit that wildcard button ahead of double game week 28, don't worry, I've got you covered with the ultimate team in today's video. Before we dive into today's team, there are two things that I want to say. First off, we are trying to hit 5,000 subscribers on the channel, so if you do want to help me hit that goal, be sure to like, comment, and of course the main one being subscribe to help us hit that goal by the end of the season. The second one, this team is built for game week 28, then game week 30 and onwards. It doesn't factor in game week 29. You are probably going to have to free hit, as I personally believe it's not worth loading up on assets that feature that week for kind of the longer term kind of state of your team. So I just wanted to put that one out there. You are probably going to have to free hit if you did build this wildcard team this week. But let's go and take a look. Let's go and dive straight into this team. We are going to start off with Areola in goal, the highest point scoring goalkeeper in the game after his penalty heroics at Goodison Park yesterday. Burnley up for them in game week 28, and I've said this a few times this season. Goalkeepers for me, I don't think it really matters. I think as long as you have two potentially playing goalkeepers, I think you're going to be pretty much fine for the rest of the season because, yeah, it's just one of those where they pick up points pretty sporadically, especially this season. It does seem like clean sheets are very hard to come by. So goalkeepers that do make a plenty of saves or, you know, just pick up the odd penalty save here and there. West Ham are a team that do concede a lot of shots as well. Areola made 10 saves in yesterday's game. So, you know, he's a goalkeeper that's just going to pick up points, just even from not even keeping clean sheets. He didn't yesterday. Obviously got the penalty save as well in there just for that extra bit of spice. So for me, I think Areola, he's just a safe bet. Very cheap. We've also got Kelleher on the bench. It does look like Alisson's injury is going to be quite a long one, so he's in there. Liverpool do have some pretty okay fixtures coming up as well post game week 30. I'm looking at the one in 31, Sheffield United, 33 Crystal Palace, 34 Fulham. So some very, very good fixtures in there for Liverpool as well. West Ham also take on Burnley this week, Wolves, Fulham and Crystal Palace over the next 8 fixtures as well. So you can rotate between those two and just kind of hope for the best. That's all I can really offer you kind of goalkeeper advice this season. It is pretty much a hope for the best. I don't think there's any goalkeeper out there that is absolutely smashing it. So, right, let's move on to our first defender. We're going to start off with Gabriel. An absolute points magnet for me, yet to play in game week 27. The fixtures do become a little bit more tricky after game week 30. Game week 30, they take on Manchester City. They also play Brighton. That game could go either way. And Aston Villa in 33. But for me, the form that Arsenal are showing since the turn of the year, I feel he's an absolute must-have, or at least one Arsenal defender as well. Brentford at home is a great fixture for them. You would imagine they should be able to keep a clean sheet in that one. He is yet to play in, obviously, game week 27. Their game does take place on Monday evening, so just be a little bit cautious on that one before potentially bringing him in. Just make sure he gets through that game unscathed. My only concern with Gabriel and other Arsenal defenders is the fact that Justin Timber is now back in individual training with Champions League football. If they do progress past Porto, which you imagine they should do, obviously, they are a goal down in that first leg, but they should still progress. I feel Arsenal are the better team in that leg. If they do progress, you probably might see a little bit of rotation. It's all dependent on when kind of their fixtures are, and obviously where they are in the league as well, which kind of campaign does take its priority. But for me, Gabriel, a very solid asset, picks up attacking returns pretty sporadically as well, which is always nice to have. Moving on to our next defender, it is going to be the first of our doublers. It is going to be Doherty, picked up an assist. That's his 8th assist of the season. Takes a lot of free kicks, takes a lot of corners as well. It's an okay double for Luton, to be honest. Crystal Palace and Bournemouth, I wouldn't be expecting a clean sheet because Luton, with this extremely high line that they're playing at the moment, seem like they are very incapable of that. They are down there as one of the worst teams over the past 5 game weeks for expected goals conceded. But Doherty, I think he's the best of a bad bunch really for Luton defenders. He at least has some attacking threat when he does play in that left back or that left wing back position. So I think just getting him in for the double and hoping for the best is a pretty nice transfer to go and pick up in your wildcard. Right, moving on to our final defender. Again, it's going to be another doubler. It is Senesi. Now with him, this is being filmed while the Bournemouth game is taking place, so it can go out after the Manchester derby, and I can enjoy that. So with him, he is currently on 8 yellow cards. If he picks up another one in the game against Burnley, he, for me, is on a void. That means he'll be close to that 10 and pick up another suspension, potentially even missing one of the double game weeks. So that is not what you want to see with him. Arguably longer term though, Bournemouth's fixtures are pretty decent. Obviously the bank in 29, if they'd have got that fixture in there, I think that would have been absolutely immense. But then it's Everton, Crystal Palace, Luton. So a nice free after the blank as well. Getting that double in there as well is pretty good. But like I said, if he does pick up that other yellow card, I would be looking at other Bournemouth defenders to go and have in here, because it's not worth kind of towing the line with a player that potentially could get a suspension. Right, let's go and move into the midfield. We're going to start off with Anthony Gordon. Another home goal for him yesterday in Newcastle's win over Wolves. Chelsea up for them next. On paper, does seem a little bit of a difficult fixture, but I do feel like Eddie Howe is slowly turning the ship back around. Their XG conceded has started to go back in the right direction. They're getting players back from injury as well. Alexander Isak as well, getting on the score sheet yesterday. They've got some really, really nice fixtures coming up post game week 29. West Ham, Everton and Fulham as a run of 3. Anthony Gordon for me has been one of the best assets, one of the best kind of for price and the ability that he does have. I think him and Cole Palmer, who we will come on to talk about in a little while, are two of the best assets in the game so far this year. The money that you pay for these guys is rock bottom, and the output that they're putting out is absolutely fantastic. I feel both of these guys will be priced at 7 to 8 million. So some good fixtures coming up for Newcastle. A lot of home fixtures in there as well for Anthony Gordon to get his teeth into. I think he's now up to second for attacking returns for home players. So absolutely immense stuff from him. So definitely a player I would be considering on my game week 28 wildcard. We briefly mentioned him there. It is obviously going to be Cole Palmer next. They're obviously playing each other, but he picked up another assist yesterday. And like I said, his per 90 data is absolutely unreal. The fixtures for Chelsea as well are really, really good post-game week 29. Burnley, Manchester United, Sheffield United, Everton and Brighton. Even after that, all the way till the end of the season, I feel Cole Palmer could be one of those players that just sticks it out for the remainder of the campaign in your side. Because like I said, another one who is excellent value for what you're paying. Next year, he is easily going to be 7 to 8 million pounds. On penalties, he is Chelsea's key danger man as well, and with some positive fixtures coming up post game week 29, I think would be a very sensible pick to have on your game week 28 wildcard. Moving on to our next midfielder, and it is going to be Son. He's back from the Asian Cup, starting to pick up attacking returns. Obviously got a goal yesterday, probably should have got a little bit more if Timo Werner could find the back of the net, but it's Timo Werner, so we'll let him off. Again, Spurs do have some really good fixtures coming up. They do have a game in game week 29, so if you were looking for players that do, have a game in game week 29, maybe you're not on a wild card, you're just looking for some advice, Son probably would be one of my top picks for that week. He is probably going to be a captain with Fulham away. After that, Luton, West Ham, Nottingham Forest and Newcastle. So again, very nice hold for the next few weeks. He's one of those players as well, you're not afraid to throw the armband on him because he is very capable of hitting those double-digit hauls. We've seen it earlier in the season. It seems like Spurs are getting a lot of players back from injury as well. James Maddison, the Richarlison injury doesn't seem as bad. It seems like Son's come back from the Asian Cup as well and is starting to deliver just like he did beforehand. So a very, very good pick. He is one of my top transfer targets as well if you aren't on a wild card. Moving on to our final midfielder, and it is going to be Bukayo Saka. Obviously yet to play in game week 27, but over the past 5 game weeks has picked up 7 goals, which is absolutely astonishing from him. We spoke about the fixtures being a little bit of a mixed bag, but for me, again, he seems to be in that form where he is very much unplayable. He's my captain in game week 27, so hopefully things do work out for him. They're playing a Brentford side who are right down there in terms of form and in terms of XG conceded, so it wouldn't surprise me that a lot of people might be thinking about the captaincy if he does well against Sheffield United. Obviously, there's one big key standout that I feel a lot of people will go for, but if you can't get to that big one standout, I think Saka does represent a good pick for captaincy in game week 28. Right, let's move on to our front line. Of course, we're going to have Erling Haaland. Now, with him, I think there is the possibility that you potentially could go out without him on this wildcard for the next few weeks. Liverpool away in game week 28. Then in game week 30, they do take on Arsenal. Obviously, a blank where you will be playing the free hit as well. So there is that little bit of scope to potentially go without him for those 2 weeks that this team would be active without the free hit in game week 29. So I definitely think there is a case to be had here that you could go without Erling Haaland. But I think with the Liverpool small makeshift kind of 11 starting to form. I do think Haaland will find his feet. Obviously, this is being filmed before the Manchester derby. He could have gone and put 5 in. Absolutely decimated everybody's rank who didn't captain him this week. Me. But, you know, I think he's still a player I would be looking to go and get. Even in the big games, he's very capable of going and picking up goals. He just smashed 5 past Luton as well. So he is an absolute machine and probably a player I wouldn't just risk just not having in my team. I'd just have him, just hope for the best. And, you know, he does always offer himself up as a captaincy option. Right, moving on to our last 2 forwards. The next one is going to be Ollie Watkins. The man is in a purple patch of dreams. Actually, he's just having an incredible overall season, isn't he? Another 2 goals he picked up yesterday away at Luton. Tottenham at home, a little bit more difficult, and I think there is a case to potentially be had with Villa assets that they might see a little bit of rotation. There is the Europa Conference League coming up for them. They've got a difficult tie against Ajax. It's not going to be an easy game, so you would imagine there probably is going to be some consequences in terms of maybe performance and overall minutes in the Premier League for the Villa boys. So I've only gone for Ollie Watkins because I feel like he'll play pretty much every single game. I feel very confident playing him against any of the top sides. He is on course as well to become one of the highest scoring non-premium assets in the game. So that's all you need to say about Ollie Watkins. For me, a great player, must have for the next few weeks as well. Obviously, 28 is a little bit of a difficult one. They do play Ajax a few days before, so there might be a little bit of rotation or potentially reduced minutes for him, but still a great asset to go and get. Finally, finishing up the lineup, we are going to have Dominic Solanke. He is probably going to be your captain pick for this week. That double is absolutely astounding. I am filming this while the Bournemouth-Burnley game is taking place. So if he maybe does pick up another injury or something like that, do obviously avoid him. But for this week, I think these 3 as a forward for the rest of the season are just absolutely insane. All very capable of getting double-digit hauls. Doubles coming up for Solanke as well. Might have another potential double in game week 34 as well. Great double this week. Offers himself up as a captaincy option with an absolutely astounding double in Sheffield United and Luton. Right, let's have a quick run through of the bench before we do finish up. Like we spoke about with Kelleher, it looks like the Alisson injury is going to be a little bit more long term, so he's a good 3.7 million pick. Garnacho always seems to be playing for Manchester United at the moment. I do think he will pick up some other points throughout the season. The fixtures aren't the best, but when you do need him, I think he's a great enabler to have on your bench. Charlie Taylor's in here because he's 3.9 million and plays. That's very simple. I think Branthwaite could be another one with Everton, obviously potentially having a double in 34. He could be one that you maybe go and get. And then Robertson from Fulham's in here because Fulham have some pretty interesting fixtures. Wolves away this week, then they feature in 29 if you did need a player. Then Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, and West Ham. A pretty tidy run, and Marco Silva has got that side playing some very, very attractive football at the moment. So maybe Alex Iwobi might be another player. Muniz, if obviously one of the forwards does pick up an injury, could be a potential option as well. Let me know what you think of the wildcard draft in the comment section. If you've got any questions about your team, get them in as well, as I will try to answer as many as I possibly can. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck this game week.